KILR KILR game.
Hello gamers, simmers, and pilots. I am the Killer Gamer, and welcome to my tour around the world featuring the classic Microsoft Flight Simulator 4. And we are going to be heading out into Scenery Disk 9 territory now. Even though we've been using Scenery Disk 9 in the default Chicago area just to do something different. And then as I was kind of comparing things, I noticed that on the Scenery Disk 9 there's actually like some buildings missing in Chicago that weren't before. There's a control tower at Meigs Airport that's not there on Scenery Disk 9, so thought it would be an improvement, but not right. Anyway, there's also a weird glitch going on where we're at right now, which is Champaign. If I were to load, right now this is the default. This is the default scenery from the Flight Simulator 4 disc that you're seeing. If I were to load Scenery Disk 9 right now where it's at, for some reason there is this glitch that puts this black triangle like right here, like this, and it's like that if you start moving to any other location, it's still there. Now strangely, it seems like anywhere else but Champaign, if you go there first and then load the scenery disk, it's fine, perfectly fine. And I did try this. I went to a location such as Meigs, loaded up the scenery disk, no problem, and then I slewed all the way to Champaign. The minute I got to that area, boom, the glitch showed up. So I don't know what it is. There is something going on with this area that glitches out. Anyway, what we're going to do, I'll show you, so that way we don't get this glitch. Here we are, right here at Champaign. This is where we're planning to go, Peoria. Now, if I were to fly it to Peoria right now, we won't see it because it's on Scenery Disk 9. So what we're going to do, so we're going to fly over here to Bloomington. I don't think we need to land, but I will load Scenery Disk 9 here while we're here. Everything should be fine, and then we can continue to Greater Peoria. So that is the plan. We'll just tune in the Bloomington VOR and just head directly to it. I don't think we need to do anything else special. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. It is 108.2. There we go. Okay, and then, well, I know the other one's not going to show up. Okay. Well, now that we are set up there, one second. I've got a surprise for you. Just got something in the mail. I installed it. Watch what happens. We will turn our mags on. We now have digitized sound, although it sounded kind of weird at first. Why is that? Because of this. Sound graphics and aircraft upgrade. Matter of fact, I think I might need to turn that volume down just a tad. There we go. I think a little bit more. I think that might be good right there. Now we'll turn it up just a little bit more. Alright, so what this is supposed to do, it gives you digital sound. It's supposed to increase the resolution and instrument panel realism with the VGA upgrade. And then you can fly the Concorde, the P-51 Mustang, the Meteor Racer, and an ultralight. Well, I was able to get the sound to work. I have not been able to get the VGA, Super VGA thing to work yet. It winds up, I don't know, something goes wrong. It's okay. Everything still looks fine, I think. We'll get it figured out. I may have to try to get this to run on PC emulator rather than DOSBox. But I'll let you know. The other thing that this has is speech synthesis. So whenever there's a message on the screen, there's a text-to-speech thing that will come on it, and it will read the message. So like ATIS, it will read, I think it will read like the air traffic control, that simple air traffic control thing where it's like Microsoft Flight Simulator requesting, you know, that thing. But you know, that's okay. I can deal with not having those graphical upgrades just yet. It was the sound. I wanted the sound. So we're gonna put that up right there. Sound graphics and aircraft upgrade. It's a special time on Flight Simulator 4. Now, if you haven't watched the Commodore Amiga series, check it out. Because this sound that you're hearing is the same exact sound on the Commodore Amiga. And that would be the first one, because it was by SubLogic. So the Microsoft version lifted some things from the Amiga version, this being one of them. However, flaps has sound effects, and the landing gear has sound effects. The Amiga did not have that. But if you've played Flight Simulator 5, you will recognize the sound of these flaps. Right? It's that same sound. And I know the landing gear is the same sound too. Although, funny thing is that they changed the engine sound. That's about the only sound I think they changed. There's supposed to be some other sounds that they put in there too. I don't know what they all are, but okay. Oh, by the way, that graphical glitch, it like totally got rid of the sky. There's like no clouds, nothing. It was like the turquoise color and that black triangle off to the side that never moved. I thought it was going to be like that the whole way through. Then when I started doing some tests, I was about ready to give up. When I started running some tests and realizing it was only champagne, I'm like, okay, we'll find a way around this. And I think I did, so we'll see how that works. Ah, this is so much more pleasing to my ears. Alright, so let's go ahead and get to a runway. Now I really feel like I'm playing the Amiga version. Ah, I think this is the taxiway. Oh, the sound of the when you land is the same sound effect as Flight Simulator 5. It does not sound like the one that's from the Amiga. We hear this like sound. It's not that one. I'm just glad that we got the sound to work. I'll worry about the graphics later. Okay, let's go ahead and tune our VOR in. It's off. Which direction are we facing? 3, 1, 1, 2. We're facing, I think we're facing the right direction. We'll set our flaps for takeoff. I can't tell if I'm playing the Amiga version or Flight Simulator 5. Alright. Now it looks more like the Amiga because of the control panel. And let's go ahead and take off. That sounds great. Oops. I forgot which one was my rudder. And away we go. Now listen to the landing gear. It was a little soft, but it is just like the one from Flight Simulator 5. Alright, 314. Oh! Heck, we're almost going that route. Well, that couldn't be more perfect. I'm like leery about using the autopilot because it gives problems. I am so glad that we don't have to listen to that awful PC speaker sound anymore. And I'll just have to work with the PC emulator, see if I can't get it to work there. It's got a variety of different drivers for graphics cards, so let me go ahead and I'll read the manual here to you. We've got time. Peoria's a little ways away. And this comes with the 3.5 and the 5 1/4. You guys remember these? These are the real floppies because they flop. This is a 1.2 meg high density disk. Alright. The SGA Update. Sound graphics and aircraft. For use with Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, the funny thing is Mallard and BAO, Bruce Artwick organization, they were kind of tied with Microsoft in a way. So you know how they complain about games being released today with missing features, and you wind up buying an expansion to get it. That's what these seem like. Now when you look back and see something like this, it's like, huh, seems like they pulled this stuff out and sold it to you separately. Maybe I'm wrong, but anyway. Welcome to Sound Graphics Aircraft Update. This package contains files that are placed in Microsoft Flight Simulator's subdirectory. These files give you the following new features. Enhanced sound. New sounds ranging from wind noise. Huh. Don't think I've heard that. To raising and lowering of landing gear are added to the existing sound repertoire. Digital sound samples enhance the sound quality through the PC speaker and create very realistic sounds through the following sound devices. Sound Blaster, Sound Blaster Pro, ATI Sound FX, Covox Voice Master, Ad-Lib Music Synthesizer Card. Voice synthesis. ADIS messages that normally appear as written text in the communications window are read orally by a very realistic synthesized voice using the voice synthesis feature of the Sound Blaster boards. New display resolutions. New display modes that offer high resolution are included. Any VGA card will have 640 by 400. Super VGA, which is the Sang ET4000 chipset, which, from what I understand, is one of the cards that you can emulate with DOSBox. It just didn't work. You got 640 by 400, 640 by 480, and 800 by 600. Video 7, same resolutions. ATI, same resolutions. New control panels. Customized high-resolution control panels are included for use in the high-resolution modes. Traditional FS4 style analog gauge panel with rotating compass. Enhanced analog gauge panel with many new features. CRT-based 747 glass cockpit. New aircraft. 4 new aircraft expand your selection to 15, 7 in Flight Simulator, 4 in Aircraft and Scenery Designer, and 4 in this package. The following new aircraft are included: Concorde P-51D, Spectrum Beaver RX-550 Ultralight, and the 1939 Laird Turner Meteor. The Sound Graphics Aircraft Upgrade will greatly enhance the realism and enjoyment of your Microsoft Flight Simulator. Well, I tell you what, it makes it a lot better at the moment. Because that PC speaker sound gets really annoying after a while. Come on. There we go. System requirements. IBM personal computer are compatible. PC emulator. 80286, the 286, or higher processor recommended. At least 640K of memory. At least 1 floppy disk drive. CGA, EGA, VGA, MCGA, or Hercules monochrome, or in-color card. Appropriate monitor for your graphics adapter. Hard disk drive. MS-DOS or PC-DOS. Microsoft Flight Simulator version 4. Optional equipment: an ad-lib music synthesizer card, ATI Audio FX, Covox Voice Master, Sound Blaster, Sound Blaster Pro, ATI VGA Wonder Plus or VGA Wonder XL, Video 7 VGA 1024i or Fast Write, Super VGA using Sang ET4000 chipset. Okay, about this manual, blah blah blah. A few notes for advanced users appear in this manual, blah blah blah. About the designers, Flight Simulator was written by the Bruce Artwick Organization Limited, BAO, which specializes in microcomputer flight simulation design. Design team members include Hugo Fuegan, Mark Randall, Dave Denhart, and Bruce Artwick. The aircraft were designed by Laming Wheeler, and the Concorde and Ultralight were tuned by Captain Don Simmons. Now, from what I understand, Lockheed Martin had hired some of the designers that were working on Microsoft Flight Simulator to work on Prepared. I thought I read that somewhere. Holy crap, we are 7,000 feet up. We don't need to be that high. We'll just bring it down. Bring it down, bring it down, bring it down a notch. All right. Yes, from what I understand, that they're working on the on Prepared. I don't know if these guys are, but files from this package need to be copied into your, it's misspelled U, into U Flight Simulator subdirectory, and a line of text needs to be inserted in Flight Simulator's configuration file, config.fs4. An install program that performs these actions is included on the SGA program disk. Whether you want to get sound, graphics, or aircraft going, first run the install program. Obviously, you run the install program for advanced users. The install program is a batch file that copies all relevant files from the SGA program floppy to the Flight Simulator directory. Only the graphics drivers for the user's graphics card are copied, because too many .gra files in a directory will create more driver options that the user can't use anyway, than will fit on the Flight Simulator startup screen. The install program also adds the following line to the config.fs4 configuration file, which is sound.drv. Just as DOS uses a config.sys file to determine what drivers to load, Flight Simulator uses config.fs4 to determine what drivers to load when starting Flight Simulator. Sound.drv is a sound driver that comes with the SGA package. If you've been using other Flight Simulator add-on packages, Facilities Locator, for example, I guess we'll need to find that one. It's a good idea to look at config.fs4 before and after the install program is run to make sure the proper line is added in the proper way. The Sound Graphics Aircraft package consists of 3 functional pieces. I wonder what those are. Sound, graphics, and new aircraft. The best way to get this package going is to bring up one piece at a time. This makes it much easier to backtrack if something goes wrong. This manual is divided into 3 sections for this purpose. Pick the feature that you want to bring up first, then go to the appropriate section of the manual and install the feature. If you want to install other features, move on to the other sections. Alright. Let's see here. I need my water. Ah! Alright. We are going down in altitude. That is good. That's what we want. And we're going at a slow pace, so I think we're good there. Oh, I pulled out a shelf here. I had a bunch of SodaStream stuff. And I moved it all so I could have myself a Flight Simulator bookcase thing. What is it called? I don't know. I keep wanting to say drawer, and that's not it. Problem is it's not going to be enough. I got a ton of stuff that is going to be coming on the way. Because remember, I'm doing this on almost every simulator. Okay, so for those of you watching who have a Flight Simulator collection that maybe you're not messing with anymore, I would love to make use of some things that I am still trying to find. For example, I have, this is for Flight Simulator 5. I have the Apollo collection, number 1, right? This is Boeing or Airbus, and yes, this is a brand new copy. And I also have business jets, which is Apollo collection 4. I don't have 2, which is the Boeing family, or 3, which is Great Airlines. I need those. I would like to get those so that way, so that way I can put them in Flight Simulator 5. I mean, one will be able to make use of some of these planes, but I can convert them to use them in Flight Simulator 98, and they can be used as the AI traffic. Maybe saying, huh, it doesn't have AI traffic. Well, yes it does if you use FS traffic. which is a great program, I gotta say. FS Traffic works like, I'll show you here. Oh, this poor little box. This is FS Traffic. Okay, this works on Microsoft Simulator, Flight Simulator 98 and 2000. Now both of those don't come with AI traffic. What you use for this is like a macro recorder. So you start recording and then you fly. So you can have yourself parked at a gate or terminal, back up, taxi to the runway, take off, fly a certain distance away, and then stop the macro. And now you can set that macro up with whatever category of aircraft that you want. And then it will randomly choose between that, and it will replay what you just did. And you can record several of those. So what I typically do is I have like maybe a couple that taxi off and take off, and then I have a couple that come back. And then in addition to that, if there's an ILS runway, FS Traffic will automatically generate traffic to land and also depart. They don't taxi anywhere, but they will come and land or take off. And it really brings the airports alive. It's very, very cool. I was really excited when I was able to get this. And then they had a follow-up for Flight Simulator 2002, which was 2002 Traffic, FS Traffic. And this one works a little bit differently. It works like your typical, traffic add-on. I have not installed this yet on my Flight Simulator 2002. I don't know if I can use that with multiple ones or not. I think what I'm going to be doing is making 3 different copies of my Flight Simulator 2002 install directory, so that way I can try FS Traffic and try Ultimate Traffic and try My Traffic. I'm going to be doing My Traffic first because I've read good things about it. And then I'll try, and that'll allow us to review them too. We can test it out and review them as we go, and just see, which ones we like. And then we'll try combining them and see if that works. Should be interesting. Okay, I'll load up the scenery disk when we get within, 5 miles. I can never seem to get to speed over 80 knots for some reason. I'm not sure why. Even when it was full power, I couldn't get it to do that. Alright, let's talk about sound on the SGA Upgrade. Sound capabilities vary depending on the sound hardware you have installed in your system. But any system, even one with just a PC speaker, will benefit from the sound driver. The best way to get familiar with the sound driver is to install it. Then look at the sound control panel and table. In Table 1, Sound and speech capabilities. Finally, if you have a Sound Blaster or Sound Blaster Pro, move on to the speech capabilities section and install the speech drivers. Well, I couldn't find any speech drivers in the SB16 directory for DOSBox. I did manage to find them to download, but when I try to install them, it's looking for a floppy disk. So I need to work with it a little bit. See if I can't make it an image. I think I've got something that I can use it to make a disk image. And try to go that route. Hopefully I'll get it working. I want to try to get, I want to try to upgrade this FS4 as much as I possibly can. Then it talks about installing and running the sound driver, memory limitations. The sound control panel. Once the sound driver is installed, the sound control panel is available from the mode menu. So the number 1 there. And the sound control panel includes the following items: the master volume control, the soundboard. This selects whether where the main sound effects will come from. Is it EC speaker, Sound Blaster, Sound Blaster Pro, ATI, Sound FX, or the Ad-lib card? Digital board. There are a few digital sound effects that, under mixed hardware conditions, running both a Covox and Ad-lib card, for example, will be generated by a hardware device other than the Sound Blaster selected in item 1. If all sounds are to come from the same device, set this to the same device as the soundboard. This is only possible for the PC speaker, Sound Blaster, Sound Blaster Pro, or ATI. Just use Sound Blaster. It's the least problematic one. If you're running just an ATI lib board, set this to PC speaker. This will cause synthesized sounds to come from the Ad-lib card and digital effects from the PC speaker. If you're running a Covox unit, select between Covox LPT1 and Covox LPT2 depending on which LPT port the Covox is plugged into. I don't even know what an LPT port is. Base address. This is the base of the port addresses used by Sound Blaster, Sound Blaster Pro, ATI. See your soundboard manual for details. Then there's thing in here about interrupt. Then there's text-to-speech. This turns on speech synthesis on the Sound Blaster and Sound Blaster Pro, assuming the proper SB Talker software is installed. You can choose between none, no messages are spoken, COM/ATIS only, air traffic control and ATIS messages. All messages that come across the COM radio are spoken. And then all messages, air traffic control, ATIS, flight instruction, and demo text are spoken. If you don't have a Sound Blaster, Sound Blaster Pro, or SB Talker software, set this to none. And then you get view scrolling text. When text-to-speech is turned on, you may wish to not view the scrolling text messages. This item lets you turn scrolling text off. Digitized effect files. This option lets you select between the default sound files that come with this package or your own digitized sound files. 8 is not used. 9 default settings. This item saves the settings of items 1 through 7 above in a file. The next time you start Flight Simulator, the saved values are used. It's recommended that you save the default settings even if you have no changes to the way the auto detector sets things up. This will force future startups to read the settings from the file instead of using the auto detector, blah blah blah. I didn't have to change anything. I just installed it, loaded it up, and we got good sound. Alright, let's go ahead and load up Scenery Disk 9. Alrighty. I've got it loaded up and everything, and no problems. I made sure that it was good. So now we can go ahead and tune into Greater Peoria, which is 115.2. Let's see if it comes up here first. And I believe Nav2, there it goes, 42 miles away. Alright, let's go ahead and select this then. And we will change our VOR here. So we know which direction to go. .288. Pretty much I think that highway is going to take us out there. Waiting for the compass to adjust itself. Yep, it looks like this road is taking us out to Peoria. Alright, 39 more miles to go. Not too much left of this thing to go through. Sound capabilities, soundboards, the PC speaker, or combinations of sound devices are used to generate enhanced sounds. The ATI Sound FX, Sound Blaster, and Sound Blaster Pro produce all sounds through the soundboard itself. All sounds come out of the speaker attached to the soundboard. The Ad-lib soundboard, when used with the PC speakers, produces synthesized sounds from the soundboard and digitized sounds to the PC speaker. The Covox sound device, when used with the PC speaker, produces the old standard FS4 sounds through the PC speaker, with the exception of a few digitized crash and screech sounds played through the Covox device. Sounds like crap, don't get Covox, I guess. Finally, you can enhance the Ad-lib or Covox by using both devices simultaneously. The Covox generates 5 digitized sounds and the Ad-lib board synthesizes the rest. In this configuration, no sounds come out of the PC speaker. Then it's got Table 1, describes the sound capabilities of 7 sound device combinations. So, this wonderful table right here tells you, everything I guess you need to know. Oh, listen to this. Apparently, there's... Okay, this has all the different types of sounds. All right, here they are. Prop engine, jet engine, landing gear, stall horn. The first three are digital. The stall horn is synth. OMI markers, synth. Bomb whistle, synth. Bomb explosion, digital. Machine gun, digital. Thunder, digital. It's not available on the Kovacs, and neither is the landing gear. Flaps, synth. Wind noises, synth. Landing screech, digital. Crash, digital. Splash, digital. Altitude, synth. I don't know what that is. Oh, altitude warning on the 747 glass cockpit panel and 800 by 600 panel. Oh, and then there's a speech for com/ADIS is only with the Sound Blaster and Sound Blaster Pro. Doppler effects on outside views, yes. Volume effects on inside and outside views, yes. Alright, then we're on the speech capabilities. Sound Blaster and Sound Blaster Pro have speech capabilities. You must be using one of these sound cards to use speech. The SGA package lets these cards read ADIS, air traffic control, flight instruction, and demo messages. And the drivers, well, there's CT-voice and blaster.drv, which come with the SGA package. But you need sbtalk.bat, sbtalker.exe, and remove.exe, and those are from the Sound Blaster discs. You just need those three. The install program copied the program ctvoice.drv and blaster.drv to the Flight Simulator directory. The install program also attempted to copy sbtalk, sbtalker, and remove. If they are not, use DOS's copy command to copy these three files from your Sound Blaster directory, or the floppy disk that came with your Sound Blaster. Well, they're not on the actual floppy. You have to do like an install or something in order to get the files, which is what I was trying to do. I was trying to install the driver just to an empty folder, just so I could get the files and then copy them over. And then running the speech driver. Before running Flight Simulator, you must load the speech driver every single time. After you shut down Flight Simulator, you must shut down the speech driver. I don't think it matters if you're running DOSBox. A typical Flight Simulator flight should be performed as follows. Load sbtalker. Just hit sbtalk, enter. Run Flight Simulator, take a flight while listening to speech, then exit Flight Simulator. So you do FS4 enter, and then you shut down the speech driver by doing remove. Note for advanced users, you can create a batch file to perform this 3-step sequence. The following can be entered, blah blah blah. You can put this into your config file on DOSBox too. To run the speech version of Flight Simulator, simply type FSS. The program sbtalker.exe can reside in the conventional memory or expanded memory. Creating your own digital sounds. Advanced users only. Digital sounds are recorded and stored as sound files, .voc files. A default set of files comes with the SGA package. If you have a Sound Blaster, you can record your own sound files and create your own sound library. Once recorded, this library can be used with any of the digital playback devices that are supported by the SGA package. Your Sound Blaster or voice editor manual describes how to record digital sounds. Use this procedure to record your digital sounds. And then it gives which ones you can record and what format you have to save them to. Graphics. Oh, this is the thing I haven't been able to get to work. Oh, there it goes. The SGA package contains 10 enhanced graphics drivers that offer increased resolution and enhanced instrument panels. One driver is usable on any VGA card, and 9 custom drivers are usable on the ATI Wonder Plus and XL, Video 7, 10, 24, and Fast-Write, and Super VGA using the Sang ET4000 chipsets. To install, the install procedure described in getting started. Copied all the files needed to get started with the enhanced graphics drivers. If you haven't yet performed the install procedure, do so now. After the install procedure is performed, select a new graphic driver when Flight Simulator starts up. You run Flight Simulator by typing FS, not FS4. That's what you would normally type to start the simulator, but let's you do FS. Select one, go through the startup menu, select your processor type, find and select a new display that appears on the expanded display list. Make sure the display driver you select will run on your hardware. Complete your startup selection as usual. Once you get the new driver working, you will see a noticeable resolution improvement. If a driver with an enhanced or 747 instrument panel is selected, see the instrument panel sections below for new feature descriptions. I'd like to be able to get the standard instrument panel working. It talks about screen flicker and glitch reduction. That's already under the, I believe it's the Sim one. Let's see. Nope, not that one. I think it's views. I was like, alright, I'm not going to do that again. Using the enhanced instrument panel. The enhanced instrument panel will work with any plane and has a number of special features available on the standard panel. These features include the altitude alert, timer, pivot on-off, and fuel pump on-off. Interesting. The COM, NAV, ADF, and transponder have a new, easier-to-use format, although the Cessna commands from the original panel will still work. The COM, NAV1, NAV2, ADF, and transponder all work in the same fashion once that particular device is selected. There are 2 readouts for each radio. The left readout is the current setting, and the right readout is the standby setting. Interesting. So it's kind of like the ones that we have now, like what was an FS9 and like the Coronado and Alabeo. You know, a lot of the planes that we see nowadays in flight simulators, it has an active and a standby. Interesting that they had this far back as Flight Simulator 4. Oh, and then there's the 747 instrument panel. Although this cockpit is representative of the 747 airplane, it is not necessary to fly the 747 airplane to use this panel. Any aircraft will work fine with it. The panel display includes the altitude indicator, the navigational display, which replaces the radar view from the original panel, the control display units for appearance only, and the engine indicating and crew alerting system. EICAS. The EICAS system includes The list of takeoff and landing flight checklists, engine readouts on fuel and oil, pressure, comm and nav radios, OMI markers, and more. Full documentation on using the 747-400 instrument panel is included with the Aircraft and Scenery Designer, available separately from Microsoft. A couple of red things out there. And then there are keystrokes. And then lastly we have the aircraft. Oh wow. It even goes on the back cover here. That's it. 4 new aircraft are included in SGA's aircraft section. Installing and running new aircraft. After the install procedure is performed, select a new aircraft, select the mode, select aircraft library, see more aircraft. That's where that stuff is, and you select the aircraft you want, and you go fly away. The 4 new aircraft is the BAE Aerospace Concorde. The Concorde is the famous British-French supersonic transport that is in passenger service around the world. Not anymore. Although flights are restricted within the United States due to sonic boom problems. The aircraft was developed in the mid-1960s, and although it wasn't the first commercial SST, supersonic transport, that honor goes to the Soviet Tu-144. It is the only one flying today. Laird Turner LRT Meteor. The Meteor is based on the Roscoe Pico train, Turner's big-engined racer. In 1938, Turner piloted the Laird Turner racer to a Thompson Trophy victory and the National Air Races in Cleveland, a closed course, low-level pylon race, with an average speed of 283 miles per hour, 0.4. He won again in 1939 with a speed of 282.5 miles per hour. Number 29 had several identities during its 3-year racing career, each tied to its sponsorship. In 1937, it was the Ring-Free Meteor. In 1938, the Pesco Special. And in 1939, the Miss Champion. Retired from racing in 1939 and last flown on May 22nd, 1940, the racer is now in the National Air and Space Museum's Aeronautical Collection. The 3rd aircraft included here. Oh, okay, that's not several red lines, that's only one. It just blurred for me, that's all. The North American P-51D Mustang. The P-51D was a World War II and Korean War era fighter, designed by James Dutch Kindleberger to be superior to all other fighters of the day. The P-51 took only 100 days to go from first designs to flying prototype in October of 1940. A total of 7,956 were built. And lastly, the Spectrum Beaver RX-550. The RX-550 Beaver is a 2-place Canadian-built ultralight. It provides a stable, low-speed platform from which to leisurely view surrounding scenery. Responsive 3-axis conventional controls and a reliable Rotax 2-stroke engine provide predictable flight characteristics at cruise speeds and the 40 to 60 mile per hour range. The RX-550 is an ideal lightweight training and recreational aircraft. And that is it. That is the whole manual. It was a nice, very well kept box too. And I don't think I can get it on this shelf. The shelf of stuff. There we go. I found a spot. I think that's our airport. Great timing. All right. Let's go ahead and get ourselves lined up with this runway over here. And we'll go ahead and drop some flaps. Yeah, this is definitely an improvement. They like took the Amiga version and then just made it better. So it is going to be a pleasure to fly this. I originally didn't think I was going to fly Flight Simulator 4, but I'm glad I decided to do so. I had gone on to a few different forums in regards to Flight Simulator 4, and there's a group of people that, you know, that really liked this version. You can hear the kind of hissing sound in the background. That's just part of the sound driver, I guess. Oh my. When hearing this on the Amiga for the longest time, what I would hear is when the throttle is lower, I hear Levi's. Turn down the volume for me. That hissing sound is a little bothersome. Well, at least you were able to hear the original sound of Flight Simulator before we upgraded it. I don't see any need to go back. Not unless there are some requests. But I think we'll be just fine with this version. Let's turn our landing gear down. It's like we're getting lined up and then we kind of get blown off course a little bit. So once we land, you'll hear the sound effect of the touchdown, and it's like I said, it's just like Flight Simulator 5. So you can tell that Flight Simulator 5 got most of its sound effects from here. They just integrated them. Alright, we're on final here. We appear to be decently lined up. Here she comes. Just a walking down the street singing do la da 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 da. Runway 31. And we are down. Okay, now where is that taxiway? Is this it? I think this is good. I think we'll just park here. All right. Turn that off. So we're here at Peoria, Greater Peoria, and it was a little long of a flight, but hey, it was nice to actually hear digitized sound now instead of that sound. But yep, we're gonna have a good tour with Flight Simulator 4. I feel it in my bones. All right, well, thanks for joining me on this retro flight. Be sure to tune in for the next leg of this journey, and also check this out on the other simulators as well, just so you can see how things change from simulator to simulator. All right, well, thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time. Don't forget that we're doing this same flight in the other simulators, so check those out if you'd like to make some comparisons or just relive some of those old fun memories of the past. Be sure to subscribe to be notified of future Flight Simulator content, and thanks very much for watching.